Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial as reported by Inner City Press. The courtroom fell silent as 50 Cent, known for his sharp tongue and no-nonsense demeanor, took the stand in what would become the most unexpected testimony of the Diddy trial. For years, he'd been clowning Diddy online, dropping cryptic jokes and bold accusations, but no one thought he'd step into court and say it all under oath. Now, as federal prosecutors probe deeper into a string of trafficking and misconduct charges, 50 has pulled back the curtain on an alleged hidden lifestyle that no one was supposed to talk about. He didn't just accuse Diddy of shady behavior, he brought receipts, a list, names, moments, the industry's worst-kept secret, finally put on record. The judge warned the gallery to remain calm, but you could feel the tension shift because what 50 said next and who he said was involved changed everything. 50 Cent and Diddy's feud didn't start in a courtroom. It started in whispers, interviews, and viral Instagram posts. For years, 50's been the only rapper bold enough to publicly call out Diddy's behavior, often laced in humor, but laced with deeper implication. In 2014, 50 Cent posted a meme insinuating that Diddy and Rick Ross had a closer-than-expected relationship. It made headlines for days, but most people brushed it off as trolling. But the jabs kept coming. In 2018, 50 appeared on The Breakfast Club and brought up a moment with Diddy that, in his words, gave him suspect vibes. He said Diddy once invited him to go shopping together, saying, "I'll pay for it." 50 raised his eyebrows. "I'm like, yo, this just feels funny to me. What grown man invites another man to shop with him and says he'll pay for it?" The room laughed, but the implication was clear. 50 was trying to tell people something about Diddy's private life. This wasn't just about trolling anymore. In 2022, when the lawsuit floodgates opened against Diddy and multiple accusers started coming forward, 50's tone changed. "Told you," he wrote on Instagram, reposting the Cassie lawsuit headline. "These fools been playing nasty games for years." Fans started to take him more seriously, not as a troll, but as someone who had been trying to warn the public. Now, under oath, 50 Cent is done playing games. The prosecution called him as a surprise witness to speak on what he knew from industry events, private meetings, and his own bizarre experiences with Diddy. His job? To give the jury a clearer picture of the man behind the mogul mask, and, according to insiders, he brought a list, not just of incidents, but names, artists, collaborators, victims, and it started with someone everyone already suspected, rapper Fabolous. During an appearance on the Drink Champs podcast, Diddy kept asking Fabolous why they never party together. "We ain't never really party," Diddy said, grinning, but Fabolous just laughed nervously and looked away. In court, 50 described what he saw behind the scenes. "I was there for that Drink Champs episode. I watched Fab shrink in his chair when Diddy started pressing him," he said. "That wasn't no joke. That was fear. Real fear." He then recalled a private industry event where Diddy reportedly cornered Fabolous and made another advance. "I remember Fab telling someone, 'Man, I just want to go home,' and Diddy wasn't letting him. Puff kept saying, 'Come on, I got a room upstairs. Just chill.' Fab dipped out the back door." This lined up with Fabolous's own story, which he once shared on Instagram, about pretending to go to the bathroom and instead sneaking out of a Diddy party at 7 a.m. He never wanted to be there, 50 told the court. He was there out of pressure. That's what Puff does. He pressured. The jury was stunned when 50 added that he personally warned younger rappers to avoid being alone with Diddy. "I told him, don't take gifts, don't go to his house, and don't ever agree to no party after the party. That's when things get dark." But it was what he said next that had the courtroom buzzing. "There's a whole group of us, artists, bodyguards, assistants, that all got stories. But Puff got lawyers, power, and fear on his side. That's why I'm here, to say it plain." With just 3 names mentioned so far, everyone knew more was coming. Prosecutors asked 50, "Are you willing to name everyone on that list?" 50 looked straight at Diddy and said, "Oh yeah, this just the warm-up." As the courtroom leaned in, 50 Cent shifted focus to one of the most surprising names on his list, Justin Bieber. "Now this one gon' hurt some of y'all," 50 said, "because people still see Justin like that little kid with the bowl cut. But let me tell you, Puff had him around when he was fresh in the game. and it didn't sit right with a lot of them. 50 recounted an infamous clip from years earlier where Diddy was seen saying on video, "I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me." The mogul made it sound playful. "We gonna go full buck, full crazy," he said. But under oath, 50 claimed that industry insiders always knew what that really meant. Ain't nobody talking about mentoring when it's 2 a.m. in Miami, and the kid's 15 years old. Prosecutors asked 50 what he believed happened during that time. He didn't give graphic details but made his point loud and clear. "I ain't saying nothing happened I saw with my own eyes, but I heard. I heard from people close to Justin, people in the camp who were scared to talk. That 48 hours? It wasn't music lessons. It wasn't songwriting. They said it was exposure to things no teenage boy should see." He went on to say Bieber later distanced himself from Diddy entirely, and when asked in an interview whether he'd let his own kid go to flavor camp, he laughed nervously and said, "Hell no." 50 told the court that wasn't a joke. That was him remembering. He described Bieber's later breakdown, public meltdowns, and deep emotional trauma as partly stemming from the dark side of fame. A darkness, he said, Puff orchestrated. Puff finds them young, promises them the world, then controls them with gifts and silence, 50 said. And the silence is loud. When asked if Bieber ever spoke out directly, 50 admitted, no, not publicly. But he's spoken volumes by what he don't say, by what he avoids, by how quick he moved away from Puff once he had the chance. As the jury processed the implications, Diddy reportedly looked down at the table, expressionless. But the courtroom wasn't done, because 50 was just getting to the part of the list that included people even closer to the streets, and the secrets only he had the courage to speak. The courtroom murmured when 50 Cent paused and looked directly at Diddy before speaking again. "Now, this next one," he said, "this ain't just hearsay. I got it straight from the man who saw it himself." The room fell silent as he continued, "I'm talking about my guy, Gene Deal." Gene Deal, Diddy's longtime bodyguard, had spoken before in interview, but now his story was being echoed under oath. 50 recounted Gene's claim about a bizarre shopping trip to an adult bookstore. Gene said Puff was in there buying all kinds of toys, stuff you don't even want to picture. I mean, racks of stuff. And Gene, being security, had to carry the bag. But it was what happened afterward that made the story unforgettable. They flew out for a show in North Carolina, 50 testified. Gene said Puff and Ja Rule went into this private suite. Gene was told to stand guard at the door. A few minutes later, Ja Rule himself opened the door, stuck his head out, and said to Gene, "Yo, you might not want to come in here. It's a little freaky in here tonight." The courtroom tensed. Prosecutors leaned in. What was the implication of that? They asked. 50 didn't mince words. He didn't mean candles and bubble baths. He meant whatever was going on in that room. It wasn't just two guys chilling. When asked why Ja Rule never spoke about the incident, 50 shrugged. "That's what I've been saying for years. Nobody want to say nothing. Not until now, but I'm here now, and I'm saying it." He emphasized that his intention wasn't to humiliate people, but to expose a pattern. It ain't about sexuality. It's about coercion, about people using their power to do what they want, when they want, to whoever they want. This ain't about what two grown men do. It's about what one man with money does to everybody around him. The Ja Rule incident, he said, was just one of many that happened behind closed doors, silenced by fame and NDA. But the damage lingered. Ja never said a word, but he ain't been the same since. Just like a bunch of others I ain't even mentioned yet. Next on the list came a newer face, YK Osiris. 50 told the courtroom that he saw all the warning signs with Osiris long before the public did. This kid blew up quick, had one hit, and then Puff came around. And suddenly the boy started changing, he said. Same playbook. According to 50, Diddy lured Osiris in with luxury, lavish trips, mentorship promises, and a rumored getaway to Jamaica. "People think it's just a vacation," 50 said. "But I told y'all before, Puff don't take people nowhere without expecting something in return." He recalled social media buzz when Osiris shared pics from Jamaica. The same time Diddy was there, fans were posting receipts. Same hotel, same beaches, same week. But Osiris tried to laugh it off, said he went with his girl, but it didn't feel right, not to people who've been in this game long enough. Then came came the Instagram live meltdown. Osiris crying, ranting about feeling alone in the industry, hinting that nobody knows what really happens. 50 played a clip of the video for the court. That boy was breaking down, and nobody helped. That's what happens when Puff discards you. He tied the emotional fallout back to Diddy's pattern. He finds young talent, love bombs them with attention, trips, gifts. Then something shifts. They start falling apart, and Puff walks away clean. Prosecutors ask if Osiris ever made specific accusation. Not directly, 50 said, but the signs were there. That meltdown? That's what people do when they're trapped in something they can't explain. As the courtroom processed yet another name on the list, 50 ended the segment with a chilling reminder. How many young black artists gotta break down before y'all see the pattern? This ain't no coincidence. This is a system. And Puff. Next came a surprising pair of names, Fabulous and Kevin Hart. You might think they got nothing to do with this, 50 told the court, but I saw it, and I know what they saw. He brought up a bizarre Drink Champs interview where Diddy started flirting with Fabulous on air, asking why they never partied together. You could see Fab's face. That man looked shook, 50 said. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't joking. He looked like he was being reminded of something. Then came the infamous Kevin Hart livestream moment. He claimed both Kevin and Fab had been exposed to environments they didn't sign up for. Puff always throws the wildest parties, he said, but he don't let you bring your security. Why do you think that is? He recounted stories of secret rooms, confiscated phones, NDAs, and wild party rituals involving substances, blindfolds, and things guests only whispered about later. Puff got people doing things they'd never do in the light, 50 said. And once you've been to one of those parties, he owns you. He claimed Kevin Hart and Fabulous were just two examples of men who tried to laugh off the situation, but whose faces told a different story. You ever seen a man laugh while dying inside? 50 asked. Watch those clips again. He added, it ain't always about what happened. Sometimes it's about what you were pressured into, what you were made to feel like you owed. That's how Puff works. The jury didn't need to be convinced. The videos were public, and now, under oath, the context behind the nervous laughter was finally being laid bare. As 50 Cent wrapped up his testimony, the courtroom was silent. Then he pulled a folded sheet of paper from his jacket. This, he said, is the list. The one people said didn't exist. He began to read names, slowly. Justin Bieber, Ja Rule, Bow Wow, Trey Songz, Kevin Hart, Fabulous, and more. Some I ain't even gonna say, because they not ready yet, but they will be. The court was stunned. These were not minor names. These were cultural icons, artists whose careers had been shaped by fame, power, and silence. Puff didn't just do this alone, 50 said. He had a whole system, people who looked the other way, who helped him cover it up, who cleaned up his messes. He explained that the silence wasn't just fear, it was protection. They all signed NDAs. They were told they'd never work again if they talked, and some of them, they believed it. He added that some names on the list were not victims, but collaborators. People who helped him recruit, who benefited from it, but I won't name them, not today. When asked why he decided to testify, 50 answered plainly, because I've seen too many people fall apart, too many break down. I got kids, and I'm not letting this man do it to the next generation. He finished by saying, this trial ain't about one video. It's not about Cassie. It's not even about the money. It's about the power this man used to break people, to ruin people, and I ain't staying quiet no more. The courtroom didn't clap. It didn't cheer. It sat in stunned silence. Because when someone like 50 Cent, who's feared and respected by nearly everyone, sits down and names names, the game has officially changed. As the courtroom emptied that day, it wasn't just Diddy who looked shaken. It was the entire industry. Because what 50 Cent had done wasn't just testify, he'd opened Pandora's box. The headlines were immediate. 50 Cent names names in Diddy trial. Freak-off scandal expands. Is hip-hop's power structure crumbling? But the real fallout started behind the scenes. PR teams went into overdrive. Lawyers began drafting cease and desist letters. And celebrities who had once posted vacation photos with Diddy suddenly went silent. Social media feeds were wiped. Comments were disabled. Some deleted entire pages overnight. Sources Sources close to the courtroom revealed that several high-profile names mentioned in 50's testimony were extremely concerned about being subpoenaed next. "They're lawyering up," one insider said. "This thing's about to get a lot bigger." In Hollywood, whispers grew louder. Agents began distancing their clients. Endorsement deals were quietly paused. Studios and streaming services reevaluated existing partnerships with bad boy-affiliated artists. Even Kevin Hart, who had once laughed off Diddy's antics on live TV, canceled 2 appearances the following week, citing family time. Meanwhile, fans flooded online forums, digging up old interviews, cryptic quotes, and long-forgotten posts. Every Drink Champs episode, every Instagram Live, every awkward red carpet exchange was now being reanalyzed under a harsh new light. "This is the number Me Too moment for male artists," one Twitter user posted. "And it's just starting." Most chilling of all was what came out about the NDAs. Multiple former bad boy artists privately confirmed to investigative reporters that they had signed contracts barring them from ever speaking negatively about Sean Combs, his family, his business partners, or even his events. One clause reportedly forbid the disclosure of unusual behavior witnessed at gatherings. But 50 didn't care. In an Instagram post the morning after his testimony, he wrote, "They tried to cancel me before. I dare 'em to try again. Y'all not gonna shut me up while these people suffer." He included a photo of himself in front of the courthouse with a simple caption, "More names coming soon." The silence was over, and for the first time, the machine that protected the untouchables might actually be cracking.